Yo, listen up, fam. Today's one of those days where the heart of burgundy and gold is beating with some seriously mixed emotions. On one hand, we're celebrating something huge. Bobby Wagner, our star linebacker, just won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Bro, that's the biggest honor a player can get off the field. But at the same time, Commanders Nation is mourning because we lost an absolute legend, a true icon who defined what it means to be a quarterback in Washington. Sonny Jurgensson passed away at 91 years old, and as if that wasn't already enough to process in one day, we've also got off-season moves starting to take shape. Rumors flying about potential signings, former Cowboys possibly reuniting with Dan Quinn, and even talk about whether we should go all in on a slot receiver like Wandale Robinson from the Giants. Bro, it's wild. But that's February in the NFL for you, honoring the past, celebrating the present, and building the future. Today we're breaking all of this down with the respect, passion, and analysis it deserves. Because being a Commanders fan isn't just about yelling HTTR on Sundays. It's about knowing the history, respecting the men who wear our colors with pride, and getting ready for what's next. So let's get into it. Bro, let's start with the good stuff, because this deserves all the hype. Bobby Wagner, linebacker number 54 for the Washington Commanders, was named the winner of the Walter Payton Man of the Year award at the NFL Honors on Thursday night in San Francisco. And nah, this ain't just another trophy. This is the award that recognizes the best of the best excellence on the field and off it. And here's the crazy part. Fam, Bobby almost didn't even go to the ceremony. He admitted it in his speech. I almost didn't come, but I'm glad I did. Imagine that. The man nearly missed the biggest moment of his life outside of football because he probably thought he didn't have a shot. But there he was, walking up on stage, getting the recognition his community work, leadership, and heart absolutely deserve got what the Walter Payton Man of the Year really means, fam. Let me break down why this award is such a big deal. The Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year award was created in 1970 and named after one of the greatest running backs of all time, Walter Payton, a beast on the field and a true community leader off it. This award isn't about stats, touchdowns, or tackles. It's about impact. It's about how well you use your NFL platform to change lives, bring hope, and build stronger communities. Every year, all 32 teams nominate one player. And out of those 32, only one wins. Bobby Wagner beat out 31 other incredible players who are also doing amazing work in their communities. That tells you everything you need to know about Bobby's level of commitment, passion, and dedication to his mission. And bro, when you win this award, you join a list of straight-up legends. Larry Fitzgerald, J.J. Watt, Russell Wilson, Calais Campbell, Warwick Dunn. Names that represent the best of football on and off the field. Now Bobby Wagner is on that list forever. The Fast 5-4, Fenia May Fun. A deeply personal mission. Bobby Wagner didn't just create some generic foundation to help the community and call it a day. Nah, bro. This man has a specific mission. One that's deeply personal and actually changing real lives. His organization, Fast 5-4, Fenia May Fun, is dedicated to helping stroke survivors recover and educating families on what to do after a stroke hits. Why? Because Bobby's mom, Fenia May Wagner, passed away due to complications from a stroke. That loss changed his life forever. And instead of staying stuck in that pain, Bobby turned that tragedy into purpose. But here's what a lot of people don't know, fam. Strokes are the 5th leading cause of death in the United States, and one of the top causes of long-term disability. Every year, more than 795,000 people suffer a stroke in this country. And a lot of those people and their families have no idea what to do next. They don't know how to handle rehab. They don't understand the resources out there, and most of the time, they feel completely lost. Bobby saw that firsthand. He lived it with his mom. And he said, never again. I'm going to make sure other families get the support we didn't have. Since 2022, Back when he was with the Rams, he started partnering with top-tier hospitals, Cedars-Sinai in Los Angeles, Virginia Mason Franciscan Health in Seattle, Kaiser Permanente in Ontario, and now that he's in D.C., added Children's National Hospital in Washington. In every place I've played, I've tried to honor my mom and honor her name, Bobby said. This is a place that's embraced me and become special to me, so I'm excited to extend that to D.C. Bro, do you get how powerful that is? No matter where Bobby Wagner goes, his mission follows. Because it's not just marketing. It's his life. It's how he keeps his mom's memory alive. It's how he turns his pain into hope for others. Programs that are actually changing lives now. Let's talk about what Fast 5-4 actually does, because this matters. It's not just writing checks and taking pictures, fam. Bobby and his team have built specific programs that include education and awareness. Campaigns to teach people how to recognize the signs of a stroke using the acronym FAST, face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, time to call 911. This literally saves lives, bro. Every minute counts when someone's having a stroke. Patient and family support. Resources to help families navigate recovery, including physical, occupational, and speech therapy. A lot of families can't afford this, and Fast 5-4 helps cover those costs. Medical research. Funding for research on stroke prevention and treatment, especially in minority communities that are hit hardest. Community events. Bobby hosts events where stroke survivors and their families can connect, share stories, and find emotional support. And all of this, fam, he's doing while still playing at a high level in the NFL. Bobby Wagner had another strong season with the Commanders in 2025, leading the defense, making tackles, reading offenses like a book. And at the same time, he's building a legacy that goes way beyond football. The speech that broke us when Bobby stepped on stage in San Francisco. He started by thanking his dad. I didn't realize how hard it is to be a father until I had 2 kids of my own, he said. And bro, that already tells you something about Bobby. He's humble, thoughtful, and puts family above everything. But then, fam, then came the heavy part. I can't be up here without talking about my mom. She is and always will be my rock. She's the reason I'm standing here. She's the one who believed in me when I didn't even believe in myself. Bobby shared something most people didn't know. Before football, he only had one job, and he got fired after a month. Imagine that, bro. Future Hall of Famer Bobby Wagner got fired from his only non-football job. He told his mom he wanted to work to help the family, and she told him something that changed everything. I got you. Those words always echo in my ear, Bobby said. Every time I try to help someone, every time I see someone in need, I say, I got you. And there it is, fam. That's the heart of it all. Bobby is honoring his mom the only way he knows how, by being for others what she was for him. A support, a rock, someone who says, I got you, and means it. And then came the moment that broke all of us, bro. She can't be here, but she lives through me, and everything I do is for her, and I honor her every chance I get. Her love and support is the reason I'm standing here, and I wouldn't be here without her. So again, every time you see my face, every time you see me do something you think is cool or amazing, know that it's her. And I'm just the flesh. She's not here now, but she's here through me. So there's no way I can accept this award without saying you're really thanking her. So thank you. Man, if that didn't give you chills, I don't know what will. Bobby Wagner didn't just win an award. Bobby Wagner honored his mom on the biggest stage possible. And he did it with grace, humility, and emotion that reminds you why we love this game. NFL got it right with this one. The original article's author, David Harrison, said it perfectly. The man who stepped on that stage Thursday night is the same one I've come to know as much as a beat reporter and a player can know each other. And that's key, fam. Because in the age of social media, it's easy to build an image. It's easy to make it look like you're doing community work when really you're just posing for photos. But Bobby Wagner isn't acting. He's not doing this for clout. This is who he is. David Harrison went on. If the world knew all the things Bobby has done to help others and use his fame for good, they'd be blown away. And bro, that's coming from a journalist who's covered the Commanders up close, who's seen Bobby in the locker room, at pressers, at practice, at community events. Someone who knows the difference between a player who talks and a player who walks IT. The NFL nailed it with this award. No question. Bobby Wagner is the Walter Payton Man of the Year because he embodies everything Walter Payton stood for: excellence, leadership, humility, and an unshakable commitment to making the world better. The impact on Commanders Nation fam, as Commanders fans, this is massive for us. Because Bobby Wagner isn't just a great player. He's a leader. He's someone the young guys in the locker room look at and say, that's how it's done. Think about it. Jahan Dotson, Jaden Daniels, all the rookies and young players on the roster. They're watching Bobby Wagner win this award and learning that football is just one part of the equation. That the real legacy is built in how you treat people, how you use your platform, how you honor the ones you love. And for us, the fans, it's a reminder that we're supporting men of character, not just athletes. Men who are making a real difference in the world. What's next for Bobby Wagner? Now, the million-dollar question. Will Bobby be back with the Commanders in 2026? Bro, we don't know yet. Bobby is 36 years old, turns 37 in June. He's played 12 seasons in the NFL. He's been to the Pro Bowl 9 times. He's a lock for the Hall of Fame when he hangs it up. But here's the thing. Bobby can still ball. In 2025, he led the Commanders in tackles, showed he still has the instincts, football IQ, and leadership that made him one of the best linebackers of his generation. If Bobby decides to return, the Commanders should bring him back nitrogen monoxide questions asked, not just for what he does on the field, but for what he represents off it. Because having Bobby Wagner in your locker room is like having an extra coach, a mentor, a living example of what it means to be a pro. And if he decides to retire, bro, we get it. Because Bobby Wagner has already given everything to football. And his work with Fast 5-4 is just getting started. That legacy is going to last for decades, fam. It's going to change thousands of lives. And that's more important than any tackle, any Pro Bowl, any ring. Bobby's final message at the end of his speech, Bobby said something that I think sums it all up. It doesn't matter if I play again or not. What matters is that I'll keep honoring my mom. I'll keep saying, I got you to those who need it, because that's what she did for me. And that's what I'll do for others. Bro, this is bigger than tackles, bigger than Pro Bowls, bigger than rings. This is legacy. And Bobby Wagner just submitted his forever.fam. If Bobby Wagner never puts on a helmet again, if he never makes another tackle, his place in Washington Commanders history is locked in, not just as a great player, but as a great man. And that, bro, is what really matters. All right, fam. After celebrating Bobby and everything he stands for, now we gotta talk about something way harder. Because while we were celebrating, Commanders Nation got hit with heartbreaking news. News that reminds us time is undefeated, and that even legends, though immortal in our memories, eventually leave us. Get ready, because this one hurts. Bro, there's no easy way to say this. On Friday morning, the Washington Commanders announced that Sonny Jurgensson, one of the most legendary quarterbacks in franchise history, passed away at the age of 90-1. And listen, I know a lot of you's younger fans never saw him play live. But that doesn't matter, fam. Because Sonny Jurgensson isn't just a name in the Ring of Fame. He's part of the DNA of this franchise. He's part of what it means to be a quarterback in Washington. And his legacy goes way beyond stats. The early years. From Duke to Philly Christian Adolph, Sonny Jurgensson III was born on August 23, 1934 in Wilmington, North Carolina. He grew up in a working-class family and showed a natural talent for football early on. He played at Duke University, where he quickly stood out as an elite passer. Back then, the passing game wasn't nearly as dominant as it is today, but Sonny was already flashing signs of what he'd become, an artist with the ball in his hands. The Philadelphia Eagles drafted him in the 4th round of the 1957 NFL Draft, 4th round fam. Today, a quarterback with Sonny's talent would be a no-brainer first-round pick. But back then, scouting was different, and a lot of teams missed out. Sonny spent his first few seasons in Philly as a backup, learning behind veteran quarterbacks. But when he finally got his shot to start, he went off. In 1961, he led the NFL in passing yards with 3,723 and threw 32 touchdowns. Bro, those numbers in 1961 were insane. It was like someone had turned on a cheat code. The Eagles won the NFL championship in 1960. Sonny wasn't a starter that year, but he was part of that squad. By 1964, though, things were shifting in Philly. New owner, new coach, new direction. And then came the trade that changed everything. The trade that changed Washington forever. In 1964, the Philadelphia Eagles traded Sonny Jurgensson to the Washington Redskins, as the team was called back then, in exchange for quarterback Norm Snead and cornerback Claude Crabb. And bro, Sonny was shocked. In a 2010 interview, he recalled, "I was surprised, in a way. I had just met with the new coach who came in with the new owner. We sat in his office for a couple hours, talked about what we were going to do, what kind of offense we'd run, how we were going to win again. And then, boom, traded. Imagine that, fam. You're sitting with your new coach, planning the future, and the next day, you're told you're no longer part of it. That's gotta sting, Doc. But what felt like a gut punch at the time turned out to be destiny, because Sonny Jurgensson became a legend in Washington. And that trade, which might have seemed controversial back then, is now seen as one of the best moves in franchise history, the Golden Era. Sonny in Washington, 1964 to 1974. When Sonny arrived in Washington, the franchise was searching for an identity. They needed a leader. They needed a quarterback who could electrify the fan base and take the offense to the next level. And Sonny Jurgensson was exactly that. Over 11 seasons in burgundy and gold, Sonny redefined what it meant to be a quarterback in the nation's capital. Here are just a few highlights from his Washington career. 1967, led the NFL in passing yards with 3,747 and threw 31 touchdowns. Bro, in an era where the game was way more physical and defenders could straight up destroy quarterbacks with no flags, Sonny was out here throwing for nearly 4,000 yards. That's wild. 1969, again led the league in passing yards with 3,102. And he did it with a completion percentage of 62.5, elite for that time. 1970, one of his best seasons, 2,354 yards and 23 touchdowns in just 12 games. His passer rating was 95.3, which was astronomical for that era. 1974, his final season. At 40 years old, Sonny was still competing at a high level, throwing for 1,185 yards and 11 touchdowns in just 8 games. But fam, the numbers only tell part of the story. Because Sonny Jurgensson wasn't just a QB who racked up stats. He was an artist. His throwing mechanics were flawless. His deep ball touch was poetry. His ability to read defenses was light years ahead of his time. Vince Lombardi, the legendary coach of the Green Bay Packers, once said this about Sonny: "Sonny Jurgensson is the best pure passer I've ever seen." And bro, that's coming from Vince Lombardi, the man who coached Bart Starr, one of the all-time greats. That tells you everything you need to know about Sonny's level. His style of play. A QB ahead of his time. What made Sonny Jurgensson special wasn't just his arm, though he had a cannon. It was his mind. Sonny understood the game on a level Few quarterbacks of his era could match. He could read defenses like a book. He knew exactly where every receiver would be before the ball was even snapped. And his anticipation on throws was just nasty dot in a time when most quarterbacks were dinking. And dunking, Sonny was attacking vertically. He was throwing deep balls that left fans speechless. And he did it with surgical precision. But here's the crazy part, fam. Sonny played in a brutal era for quarterbacks. There were no rules protecting the passer like today. Defenders could hit you after the throw. They could go low. They could absolutely light you up. And the refs wouldn't call a thing, and despite all that, Sonny never flinched. He never backed down. He stood tall in the pocket and delivered strikes, knowing he was about to get blasted. That's toughness, bro. That's what separates the greats from the legends. The injuries that limited his legacy. Here's the sad part of Sonny's story. The injuries. Throughout his career, Sonny dealt with multiple injuries that limited his availability. Shoulder issues, rib injuries, knee problems. The physical toll eventually caught up to him. And bro, this is important to understand. If Sonny had played in today's era with modern rules, advanced sports medicine, and recovery programs, who knows what kind of numbers he would have put up? We'd probably be talking about him in the same breath as Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. But even with the injuries, even playing in a more violent and less passer-friendly era, Sonny Jurgensson still put up incredible numbers. 32,224 career passing yards, combined between Philly and Washington. 255 touchdowns, led the NFL in passing yards, five-time Pro Bowler named to the NFL 1960s, All-Decade Team, and most importantly, inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1983. Bro, that's the ultimate recognition. That's the NFL saying, this man was one of the best to ever do it. Beyond the field, Sonny is a broadcaster when Sonny retired. In 1974, a lot of folks thought that would be the end of his football journey. But fam, Sonny loved this game way too much to walk away completely. And Washington fans loved him way too much to let him go. So Sonny became a radio broadcaster for the Washington Redskins and eventually the Commanders. And bro, he was amazing in that role. For decades, generations of Washington fans grew up listening to Sonny Jurgensson call games on the radio. His football knowledge was encyclopedic. He could break down complex plays in a way that any fan could understand. And he did it with humor, warmth, and that classic Southern charm that made you feel like you were watching the game with an old friend. Sonny didn't just tell you what was happening on the field. He told you why it was happening. He pointed out adjustments, explained defensive schemes, highlighted quarterback reads. He helped fans see the game on a deeper level. And for the older fans, hearing Sonny's voice on Sundays was like having a piece of Washington's golden era with them. Every week, it was a reminder of the days when Sonny was slinging touchdowns at RFK Stadium, when football in D.C. felt like magic. The Ring of Fame legacy in 1987, Sonny Jurgensson was inducted into the Washington Ring of Fame, an honor reserved for the absolute greatest to ever wear burgundy and gold. His name sits alongside legends like Sammy Baugh, John Riggins, Art Monk, Darrell Green. Straight-up titans of Washington football. And bro, that honor was more than deserved. Because Sonny Jurgensson wasn't just a great player. He was an icon. He defined an era. He showed an entire generation of fans what an elite quarterback could look like. Reactions to his passing when the Commanders announced Sonny's passing on Friday morning, the reaction was immediate and emotional. Team owner Josh Harris released a statement saying, Sonny Jurgensson was one of the most important figures in the history of our franchise. His impact goes far beyond statistics. He represented the best of Washington, both on and off the field. Our thoughts are with his family during this difficult time. The Jurgensson family also released a statement thanking fans for decades of love and support. Sonny loved Washington. He loved the fans. And he loved this game. We are heartbroken by his loss, but we are also grateful for the 91 incredible years he lived. He lived a full life, surrounded by love, and left behind a legacy that will never be forgotten. On social media, fans of all ages shared memories. Older fans remembered watching him play at RFK, throwing perfect spirals with that legendary release. Younger fans remembered hearing him on the radio, learning the game from one of the best to ever do it. And bro, that's the beauty of Sonny Jurgensson's legacy. He touched multiple generations, not just those who saw him play, but also those who grew up listening to him, learning from him, being inspired by him. Comparing eras, Sonny versus modern QBS fam. One of the questions that always comes up when we talk about legends from the past is, how would they stack up against today's players? And with Sonny Jurgensson, the answer is clear. He would have dominated in any era. Think about it. Sonny played in a time when there were no rules protecting quarterbacks. Helmets and pads were primitive. Compared to today, fields were often in terrible condition. Travel was rough. No private jets. Sports medicine was basic. Injuries that are recoverable today ended. Careers back then and still, Sonny put up numbers that rivaled the best of his time. Now imagine Sonny playing today with elite QB coaches, advanced film study, top-tier offensive lines, and rules that protect the passer. Bro, Sonny Jurgensson would have been a problem for modern defenses. His accuracy, his vision, his arm, all of that translates to any era. Cultural impact in Washington, D.C. Sonny Jurgensson wasn't just a football player in Washington. He was a cultural figure in the 1960s and 70s. When Sonny was in his prime, D.C. was going through massive changes. The city was dealing with racial tensions, Vietnam War protests, political upheaval. It was a turbulent time. And in the middle of all that, Sundays at RFK Stadium were a sanctuary. A place where people from all walks of life could come together, wear burgundy and gold, and root for their team. And Sonny Jurgensson was the face of that team. He represented hope. He represented excellence. He represented the idea that no matter how hard things were outside the stadium, inside those white lines, we could win. Lessons for Jayden Daniels and the new generation fam. Now we've got Jayden Daniels as our quarterback. A young, talented dude with a bright future ahead. And while Jayden may have never met Sonny personally, or maybe he did, we don't know. Sonny's legacy is something Jayden should study, because Sonny Jurgensson showed what it means to be the quarterback of Washington. It's not just about throwing touchdowns. It's about leadership. It's about representing a city with pride. It's about playing with heart, with smarts, with courage. And bro, if Jayden Daniels can capture even a fraction of what Sonny Jurgensson meant to this franchise, we're going to be just fine. The final goodbye. Sonny Jurgensson lived 91 years. 91 years of full life, of football, of connection with fans, of legacy built. He didn't die young. He didn't die tragically. He lived a long, rich life. But still, bro, this hurts. Because losing Sonny Jurgensson is like losing a piece of Washington's soul. It's closing a chapter. It's saying goodbye to an era. But his legacy will never die. Every time a Commander's quarterback lines up under center, drops back, and throws a perfect pass, that's Sonny. Every time we celebrate this franchise's history, that's Sonny. Every time we talk about the greats who wore burgundy and gold, that's Sonny. Rest in peace, legend. Thank you for the touchdowns. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for showing Washington what elite quarterback play looks like. Thank you for decades of radio magic. Thank you for loving this city as much as it loved you. HTTR, Sonny. Forever. Bro, February is when the NFL gets real interesting off the field. The playoffs are done, the Super Bowl is in the books, and now it's time to start building rosters for 2026. And the Commanders are already popping up in a bunch of free agency rumors and potential moves. Today, we're breaking down two scenarios that are generating serious buzz. The possibility of signing Wandale Robinson, the slot receiver from the New York Giants, and the talk about former Cowboys reuniting with Dan Quinn in D.C. and fam. these aren't just random rumors. There's logic behind both. There are real reasons why these names are being linked to the Commanders. So let's break it all down. The fit, the cost, the impact, and whether it actually makes sense for us. And guess who they listed as a perfect fit for the Commanders? Wandale Robinson, the slot receiver from the Giants. And bro, before you say, why would we want a player from the Giants? Hear me out, because this actually makes a lot of sense. Robinson's 2025 numbers. A legit breakout Wandale Robinson had his best season as a pro in 2025. 1,008 receiving yards, first time in his career over the 1,000 mark, 92 receptions. Those numbers are solid, but here's the wild part. Robinson did all that with horrible quarterback play in New York. The Giants were a mess at QB in 2025. A smart, accurate quarterback who can make every throw. That's a massive upgrade for Robinson. And for us, it means adding a receiver who's already shown he can produce even in a bad situation. The Commanders tried to solve the slot receiver position in 2025 with Deebo Samuel. And bro, let's be real, it didn't work. Deebo's a great player, but for a bunch of reasons, injuries, scheme fit, chemistry with Jaden, it just didn't click. Now Deebo's a free agent, and it's unlikely he comes back, which means the Commanders have a hole in the slot, and that hole needs to be filled. Because in today's NFL, having a reliable slot receiver is essential. Think about it. We need someone who can operate from the slot, create separation on short and intermediate routes. Wandale Robinson can be that guy. And here's why. Separation skills. Robinson is elite at creating separation on short routes. His quickness out of breaks is top tier. That's exactly what you want in a slot receiver. Robinson has dependable hands and rarely drops catchable passes. Yak ability. He's not a straight line burner, but he's got great vision after the catch and can rack up extra yards. That's huge in a system that wants to maximize every play. Versatility. He can line up in the slot, but also move outside if needed. That gives the offensive coordinator more flexibility to create mismatches. Dabble is now the offensive coordinator in Tennessee. A potential landing spot for Robinson is Washington. The Commanders tried to make it work with a veteran slot receiver last season in Deebo Samuel, but they have the cap space to target a younger option to help Jaden Daniels. And bro, there it is. PFF is saying exactly what a lot of us are thinking. We need a young, productive slot receiver who can grow with Jaden. Wandale Robinson checks all those boxes. The divisional factor. Turning a rival into a weapon. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Wandale Robinson plays for the Giants, our division rivals. And fam, I know it feels weird to think about signing a player from New York. But bro, this is business. And in the NFL, if you can upgrade your roster by signing a rival's weapon, you do it. No hesitation. In fact, there's something kind of poetic about it. Imagine Robinson going back to MetLife Stadium twice a year, but this time in burgundy and gold, catching passes from Jaden Daniels and helping us sweep the Giants. Bro, that's straight poetry. How much would it cost to sign Wandale Robinson? Now, let's talk money. Because in the NFL, it doesn't matter how much you like a player if you can't afford him. According to Spotric, that puts him in the same ballpark as other receivers with similar production. Khalil Shakir, Buffalo Bills, $13.2 million per year, signed at age 25. Devonta Smith, Philadelphia Eagles. But he's more productive than Shakir and cheaper than Smith. So $17.6 million per year seems fair. And here's the big news, fam. The Commanders have plenty of cap space. That means we can absolutely afford to sign Robinson without hurting our ability to make other big moves. The fit in David Blau's offensive system. Now the key question, does Wandale Robinson fit in the offensive system that new coordinator David Blau wants to run? Bro, we don't know exactly what Blau's offense will look like yet. But based on his known philosophy, emphasis on timing routes, quick gain, and maximizing, why I see Robinson looks like a perfect fit. Blau will likely want to give Jaden Daniels quick, reliable options in the short passing game. That's exactly what Robinson brings. And if Blau wants to run more pick routes and rub concepts from the slot, which are super effective in today's NFL, Robinson has the quickness and football IQ to execute those at a high level. Plus, Robinson has experience in the NFC East. He knows the defenses. He knows the stadiums. He knows the intensity of divisional games. That's not something you can teach. That's valuable experience. Potential risks of signing Wandale Robinson. All right, fam. Let's keep it real. Not everything is sunshine and touchdowns. There are a few risks that come with signing Wandale Robinson, and we gotta look at them honestly. Injury history. Robinson has dealt with some injuries in his career, including knee issues. That's something the Commanders' medical staff would need to evaluate closely before making a long-term commitment. Production with a real QB. All of Robinson's production came with below-average quarterback play. While that might mean he'll explode with someone like Jaden Daniels, it also means we haven't seen him in a high-powered offense yet. There's always a chance the fit doesn't translate. Culture fit. Robinson has spent his entire NFL career in New York. How we adapt to a new locker room, a new city, and a new coaching staff. That's something Adam Peters and the front office would need to dig into. But bro, these aren't deal breakers. And with the right structure in the contract, the Commanders can protect themselves while still making a strong offer. The verdict on Wandale Robinson, my take, fam. The Commanders should absolutely explore signing Wandale Robinson. I'm not saying we hand him a blank check. I'm not saying we overpay. But if we can land him for something in the 17 to 18 million per year range on a 3 or 4 year deal, that's a smart move. Robinson fills a real need. He's young. He's productive. And he's got upside to be even better with a legit quarterback like Jaden Daniels. That's exactly the kind of player we should be targeting in free agency. Rumors of former Cowboys, reunion with Dan Quinn in D.C. Now let's talk about the second rumor floating around. Donovan Wilson, safety. Brandon Cooks, wide receiver. Yowen Tober, wide receiver. Trevin Diggs, cornerback. And bro, the logic here is simple. Dan Quinn was the defensive coordinator in Dallas before becoming our head coach. He knows these players. He's worked with them. And if he believes they can help the Commanders, it makes sense to at least explore the idea. But fam, not all these names make the same amount of sense. Let's break them down one by one. Donovan Wilson, safety. Is he worth it? Donovan Wilson was a solid safety for the Cowboys for a few years. But here's the issue. His production has been trending down. According to PFF, Wilson had a grade of 50.8 in 2025, ranked 83rd out of 91 safeties. He was one of the worst safeties in the league. But since then, it's been a steady decline. 2021, 65.4 2022, 64.1 2023, 63.7 2024. My take, fam, the Commanders should pass on Donovan Wilson. Yes, we need help in the secondary. Brandon Cooks, wide receiver. Interesting depth piece. Brandon Cooks is a veteran who's had a solid NFL career. He's played for a bunch of teams, Saints, Patriots, Rams, Texans, Cowboys, and has been productive everywhere he's gone. But bro, Cooks is 31 now. And while he can still play, he's clearly not the same guy he was 5 years ago. In 2025, he had 657 yards and 3 touchdowns with the Cowboys. Decent numbers, but nothing special. So the question is, do we need Brandon Cooks? If we sign Wandale Robinson, we've already got Terry McLaurin as WR1 and Robinson in the slot. Cooks could be a nice veteran depth piece who brings experience and can contribute situationally. But he shouldn't be a priority, and we definitely shouldn't overpay. If Cooks is willing to sign a 1-year deal for $3 to $4 million, that could make sense as a low-risk move. And we should pass. Bro, those numbers don't move the needle. And honestly, I don't see how Tolbert would be an upgrade over what we already have on the roster. My verdict: pass on Yowen Tolbert, which sometimes leads to picks, but other times leads to big plays allowed. And in 2024 and 2025, his production was inconsistent. Plus, Diggs suffered a serious ACL injury in 2023. He's recovered, but there are still questions about whether he's fully back to his pre-injury form. So, should the Commanders be interested in Trevon Diggs? It depends on the price, fam. If Diggs is available on a reasonable deal, say 2 years for $20 to $24 million, that might be a risk worth taking. He's 27, so still in his prime. Diggs could be a real upgrade in our secondary. But if Diggs is looking for a big money deal, like $15 million per year or more, we should pass. Fam, here's my take on all these former Cowboys rumors. Donovan Wilson, pass. He's declining and not an upgrade. Brandon Cooks, consider only if it's a cheap one-year deal. Not a priority. Yowen Tolbert, pass. Not enough upside. But bro, here's the truth. The Commanders shouldn't be building their offseason around former Cowboys. We should be looking for the best players available. Period. If Dan Quinn believes one of these guys can help, cool. But we shouldn't sign them just because Quinn knows them. We should sign them because they make our team better. The real priorities of the offseason. All right, fam. Let's set the rumors aside for a second and talk about what the Commanders really need to do this offseason. Because while it's fun to speculate about free agents and reunions, there are some clear priorities that have to be addressed if we want to take that next step in 2026. Edge rusher. This is priority number 1. We need someone who can consistently pressure the quarterback. Michael Williams from Georgia or free agency, maybe Hassan Reddick if he hits the market. This move has to happen. We've been getting cooked too often on the outside. That has to stop. Slot receiver. We already broke this down. Wandale Robinson could be the answer. We need depth at both tackle and guard. We need leadership and production in the middle of the defense. Those are the top 5. Everything else, backup QB, special teams, rotational pieces comes after. Adam Peters' role in all this, bro. We gotta trust Adam Peters. In his first offseason with the Commanders, he made smart moves, didn't overpay in free agency, and built through the draft. I expect him to stick to that same philosophy in 2026. I don't want to see the Commanders throwing $20 million at a declining vet just because we need to fill a hole. I want to see smart moves. Young players with upside. Contracts that give us flexibility. And fam, if Peters decides Wandale Robinson is the right move, I trust that. If he thinks Trevon Diggs is worth the risk, I trust that. Analytics, medical reports, and conversations with coaches. We've got rumors and vibes. Jaden showed in his rookie season that he's got all the tools to be a franchise quarterback. But he needs weapons. He needs protection. He needs a defense that can keep games close. If we sign Wandale Robinson, that gives Jaden another reliable target. If we improve the pass rush, that helps the defense get off the field faster, giving Jaden more chances. If we add depth to the O-line, that gives Jaden more time in the pocket. It's all connected, bro. And the Commanders know that. That's why I'm optimistic about this offseason. Don't forget, the 2026 NFL Draft is just a few months away. And the Commanders hold the number 7 overall pick. That's a huge opportunity to add a difference maker. The draft is another tool to upgrade this roster. And when you combine that with smart free agency moves, the Commanders could have a transformational offseason. But the truth is, nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. What we do know is this: Adam Peters is a smart GM who won't make dumb moves. Jaden Daniels is a franchise QB we can build around. The Commanders have cap space, draft picks, and a clear direction. That's a recipe for success, fam. And I'm here for all of it. All right, fam, what a ride we've been on today. We celebrated Bobby Wagner and his incredible Walter Payton Man of the Year award. We mourned the loss of Sonny Jurgensson, a legend who defined what it means to be a quarterback in Washington. And we looked ahead to the future, breaking down all-season moves that could shape the Commanders for 2026 and beyond. Bobby Wagner reminds us that football is bigger than the game. That true legacy is built in how you impact lives, how you honor the people you love, and how you use your platform for good. Bro, that speech hit me in the soul. I'm proud that Bobby is a commander. His work with Fast 5-4 is changing lives. And that legacy will outlast any tackle or Pro Bowl. Sonny Jurgensson may be gone, but his legacy is eternal. He showed generations of fans what elite quarterback play looks like. And after he retired, he stayed part of the Commanders family as a beloved radio voice for decades. Sonny, rest in peace. Thank you for everything. HTTR forever. And looking ahead, the offseason is full of possibilities. Wandale Robinson could be the slot receiver we need to give Jaden Daniels another weapon. The ex-Cowboys rumors are interesting, but we should only chase players who truly make our roster better. And with the 2026 draft approaching, we've got a shot to add a game-changer on defense. Fam, the future of the Washington Commanders is being built right now, and while we don't know exactly how it'll all shake out, we do know this. We've got a smart GM, a proven head coach, a franchise quarterback, and a fan base that's ready to rise again. So keep the faith, bro. Keep the hype alive. Because the best days of the Washington Commanders are still ahead. If you made it this far, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments. Should we sign Wandale Robinson? Which former Cowboy would you want to see in burgundy and gold? How do you feel about Sonny Jurgensson's legacy? What should be our #1 priority in free agency? See y'all tomorrow with more news, more analysis, and more Commanders hype. HTTR fam. Always.